Stellar Blade drama. So in the last 2 weeks, I'm sure you've been victim to seeing a bunch of people complaining about Shift Up's newest upcoming release, Stellar Blade, a South Korean game development company more commonly known for their exquisite mobile games such as Nikke, Goddess of Victory, a relatively new mobile game with a very niche target audience for big banging guns and big banging buns, and Destiny's Child, which is home to a lot of their more interesting designs. Now, Stellar Blade has been coming under a lot of fire and controversy because of one particular thing. The main character and poster girl, Eve, has a very peculiar point of interest in her design. That's right, everybody. Eve's got a fat ass. Whoa! Which is a large enough reason for discourse to interrupt in Elon's internet playground. I understand the reason why some people are a bit turned off by Eve's design. Some folks yell out in, over-sexualization of the female form or using the male gaze to sell a subpar video game, but I don't think that's the case here. To start it off, this particular journalist, Ben Osola from IGN's, shocking I know, French branch, had described Eve as Stellar Blade's Eve is just boring. A doll sexualized by someone who has never seen a woman. Now, these are screenshots that I found off of the IGN, these are the screenshots I found off of Reddit, the Stellar Blade Reddit, translated because the original review is in French and I can't read French, but for context, I placed the link in the description, both links, from Reddit and from the French branch of IGN for Stellar Blade review to actually see it, and you can make your judgments, by that way. And I also took a screenshot from this guy named Grums on X or Twitter, who's also a fucking idiot, by the way. This is just so I can give you a little bit of context and proof of what was actually said and the general outrage this game has generated by a certain group of people that seem to have a lot of misplaced assumptions and charged opinions. I'll say this though. Overly sexualizing and dehumanizing women because of a model from a character from a piece of fictional media is wrong, and those types of niggas should be ashamed, point blank period. But at the same time, it's also very hard to take anybody from IGN seriously. Not to mention, the game's demo officially released on March 29th, and I woke up that morning and downloaded the game myself to try it out. I wasn't exactly drawn to it because I wanted to see a big fat butt in 4K on my PlayStation 5. I wanted to actually try out the game itself because of all the trailers and showcases that we've seen for the past year and a half. I wanted to try it out. I wanted to see what the actual game was about and not just the initial outrage that all these miserable, lame people on Twitter tend to shout about. And my initial review, it was pretty fun. The voice acting for all languages were really well done. They get you really involved in the story and combat very quickly. Like, dude, the action, the crazy visuals, and the story completely overshadow Eve and every single other character's fat ass very quickly. I mean, I get it, it's a third-person game, you're gonna see their butts anyway, but I wasn't really giving a fuck about looking at their butts when I'm trying to literally fight for my fucking life. And this is just a demo that they showed us. The demo was about 30 minutes to about an hour long. All I can think about is that people were purposely focusing on the wrong things about this game. Sure, the characters have these unique looking models, but they did base Eve off of an actual person. She's a K-pop idol, and it's not like their vision was inherently inaccurate, but to go so far as to say that the creator doesn't know what a woman looks like when his wife of 10 years is one of the creative artists on the team to come up with the designs for the characters and enemies in the world, it's a little ignorant to stake that claim, especially when Eve herself is based off of an actual person. But then again, if you say this to the wrong person, you're bound to be the victim of a witch hunt in some way, shape, or form. I think that we shouldn't have this much vitriol and malice towards game developers or any sort of game IP or project or any sort of entertaining and creative media that is set to be entertaining pieces of work and are putting all their time and effort into making sure that we as consumers are having fun and enjoying their products. Otherwise, we get boring, unfinished storytelling slop that doesn't have any of that entertaining aspect to make me or you want to continue playing. For example, I'd say my favorite video games within the past year has been Final Fantasy 16, Baldur's Gate 3, Helldivers, Rise of Ronin. All of these fantastic titles, some of which have really engaging, rich, immersive narrative and storytelling, all had to come through to give us players one important reason to keep playing. They're fun. They're not just graphics. It's not just story. It's fun. And Stellar Blade looks like it's about to fall into the same category as Bayonetta or Nier Automata, which, by the way, I keep saying by the way, I probably need to upgrade my vernacular. Bayonetta and Nier had to go through the exact same thing when those games were announced and then released. I played Bayonetta 1 and 2. I didn't play Bayonetta 3 because I don't have a Switch. And those were amazing games. Extremely fun, addictive, crazy good storytelling. And sure, Bayonetta and 2B are very attractive looking characters with very specific assets, but that doesn't mean I'm going to completely write off the game because they look good. If anything, them looking good is the least of our problems. Have you niggas even ever played Nier Automata? There are about maybe like 9 different endings, and each one of those endings get more and more and more depressing the more you keep playing that shit. Like, dog, I can't get too much into Nier Automata, but however, the same thing that is happening to Stellar Blade, it happened to Bayonetta, it happened to Nier. But as time goes on, everybody can agree that the Bayonetta series and Nier series are very, very fun. They're very interesting and people like them, despite the fact that they have very interesting design choices. And as this will be my last comment on this, I know it's probably a short video, but I wanted to try it out, like talking about video games and game reviews, or just general outrage about video games that I like and video games that I like or are interesting. I just wanted to try out a different type of video. I'll say this: it's okay for a video game to have sexy design. It's okay for a video game to not have sexy designs. It's okay if it doesn't have 4K hyper-realistic graphics. It's okay if it doesn't have a deep, thought-provoking narrative that makes you question your own life and choices. If a developer releases something poorly designed, in poor taste, it should be identified and criticized, and we should not allow ourselves to be slaves to mindless capitalism just because we as consumers need to buy everything or buy anything. We all deserve quality, and that's with anything in life. We have the voice and the value to make it so. Anyways, that was a short video about Stellar Blade. It wasn't really much of a review, but hopefully the gameplay and some of the stuff that I put on the screen gave you a bit of context as to why the game itself is not what you think it is, and how you shouldn't believe everything you see on Twitter or X, or if anything, believe anything other people say when their outrage is very poorly misplaced. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace. Hood rich nigga.